Good morning, everyone. It's Dr. Arlene Diamco, the Multidimensional MD. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. And as always, I'd love to hear from you. My mission is to help bring the intuitive spirit back to medicine in practical, tangible ways. So today I want to talk about expressing love without holding back. And this is a more general love. It's not just romantic love, it's love for yourself, it's love for other people. And the reason I started thinking about this was because over the holidays, I saw these videos pop up on my social media, and it would be like a kid reunited with a parent, and the child would just be like crying, and then the parent too, and or a sibling that said something to another sibling, like a pair of brothers, and who said like, you're my favorite person, or I love you so much, and then the other would just start crying because they were so filled with like joy and happiness. And I was wondering why these videos were so intriguing, um, for me and for other people. And I started thinking it's because it's not always the norm. We're not always used to seeing it, but it could be. And I started thinking about what keeps us from expressing love fully. I think about it for myself, and I think about it for my patients and what they're going through. Um, and of course, what comes up first is that fear of rejection, a fear of getting hurt. So maybe you feel like it's going to be ridiculous. You express something, someone might freak out, or they might not return it. It's that feeling of vulnerability. And they actually measure this sometimes in psychology, this thing called anxiety sensitivity, where it's this fear of feeling anxious, feeling the symptoms of being anxious. So you're not yet anxious, but you're afraid of being anxious. So it's like the anxiety over the anxiety. And so the more fearful you are of feeling the sensations, then the more likely you are actually to to be anxious because you're fighting yourself. And in doing so, you put up a heart wall. So I've talked about the heart wall a lot in the last year or in 2021 because it's this protection over the heart that protects the ego and helps you feeling safe. But safe doesn't always mean feeling good. Safe means feeling what you know already. So, maybe if you didn't have role models for expressing love more fully, it can feel awkward to be completely genuine. So, maybe it feels like even cheesy at times, but it's only cheesy if it's not genuine. So it can feel like that awkwardness is feeling like you're going into uncharted territory. And so that unknown can feel scary. So it can take some courage to be able to express yourself in a way that's just more fully loving. And when I see these kids sometimes that are described as being sensitive, but they're actually able to talk about their emotions and verbalize what they're seeing. And to me, that's a different kind of courage. So maybe they're more sensitive because they can pick up on things and feel feelings. So they're feeler type of people. And it's just different kinds of people. But they have this courage to be able to address or to be able to see the emotions and want to address it, want to talk about it. So you can have that courage too. And it takes a lot more courage to talk about your own emotions, of course, than anybody else's. So I feel like, for the new year, this would be just such a great thing to help shift the world, to help shift our lives in a direction that we want it to go. So, number two, why would we want to fully express? Well, first, it's better for your health. So, I love to talk about health in multidimensional terms. And when you love, you actually live longer, or you're more likely to live longer. You have deeper connections with yourself, and with other people. You're more likely to have lower blood pressure or normal blood pressure. You're less likely to turn to substance abuse, less likely to be depressed, and you're more likely to have nourishing habits. So you're more likely to take care of yourself in a way that's supportive. So you're more likely to stick to an exercise routine. So if you're dealing with any weight issues, you're more likely to want to stick to any like healthier habits. You're more likely to choose foods that are healthy for you, so that are nourishing for your body, because you're not doing it in a way that is fearful. You're doing it in a way that's loving for yourself. So instead of doing it in a way of being afraid of how you look or afraid of dying even, it's this loving nourishment for yourself because you want to feel good. So you pick healthy foods because you love yourself. It's such a different feel. So you could be doing the having the exact same behavior, but it has so much more power behind it, because that power of love is has so much more momentum. And yeah, you're just more likely to make all these healthy decisions. And so, and we talk about how do you start? Like, how do you express love without holding back? So, you can start by being kind to yourself, being kind to others. And it's always great to start with yourself. So, practice bit by bit, because maybe the majority of the thoughts right now are not so kind and loving. And that's fairly common for a lot of people. Maybe you're not one of those people, but you still have some room for just like being nicer to yourself or having nicer thoughts to yourself. So practice little by little, like day by day, to help normalize it. So over time, it starts to become more of a habit. If you're if you have a lot of critical thoughts right now about yourself, about other people, then just practice day by day. And you could also do something like start a gratitude jar. So put a jar out in the kitchen or at your bathroom. So somewhere where you'll see it all the time, so you don't have to look for it, that it's a gentle reminder for you every single day. And then you could put a little note in there every day about what you're thankful for yourself, for people around you, for the earth, anything. So what this will help you do is to help not take things for granted, and to help you be more appreciative, and to help shift those criticizing or more negative thoughts over to ones that are more loving and nourishing. And the great thing is that over time, if you want and you need little reminders, you can always reach into the jar and see what you've been thankful for over the year. And that will help to kind of boost you throughout the year. And you can also, start by saying thank you. So you don't have to leave it just to the jar. You can start to bring it into your everyday life. So say thank you to people, but do it in a way that's so heartfelt. So when you say to someone from your heart, thank you, it has so much more meaning, depth, and power behind it than if you were just do it more knee reflexively, like a knee jerk reaction, because you were taught to be polite and say, oh, thanks or thank you, but you actually have your mind on something else. So if you align your mind, spirit, and then that action with the words of saying thank you, then it means so much more. And people can feel the difference in that vibration. So that's the difference of feeling someone is being very sincere and genuine, authentic versus insincere. And so that's like that will feel awkward, or that's when people feel things are like cheesy because it's not. There seems something awkward about the situation, because if it was so true and authentic, you just want to embrace it. It feels really good. And you can also watch my past podcasts on uncurling the heart wall, because this will also help with uncurling yourself, this all of this love that can emanate from your heart center. Again, that wall serves as a protection. So anytime you feel this heaviness, this weight on your shoulders and your back, your neck, see, it will curl the body in somewhat, and that tension will put some pressure on the heart. And so this is when I feel people are feeling more anxious, or sometimes they actually get palpitations. And so you want to lift it and uncurl it. So if you look at the other podcasts on that, uncurling your heart wall, this will also give you some ideas of how to practice doing that so that you can express love more fully without holding back. And it's not one and done. This is a moment to moment thing. So you if you feel like you missed a moment, it's okay. You have the next moment to practice. And there are times where I find that it's more difficult and I can feel that curling in. You want to protect yourself. You're afraid of how someone might react to you. So that's a fear of rejection, of a fear of feeling vulnerable. And I know how that feels. And I'm so familiar with that, with growing up and really feeling like I was holding back on myself. So each day then I want to practice, and because it feels good. So be curious about it. Be like, have some wonder about it. Like, wonder what that feels like. And that will help to give some momentum so that you want to practice it, and helps to shift out of that fear mode to more the wonder. And when you place your mind into work of like, I wonder what that feels like, see, then your mind will start to be more aligned with what you want to do. So, lots of love to all of you. I hope that was helpful for you in some way. It's something that I wanted to talk about for myself too, to keep practicing, to express myself fully, authentically, and to know that there is so much that you can create this year. So if you start by doing this, you can create so much love in the world, and that will have its ripple effect all around you. And we need more people doing this. So, this is why I wanted to share it today. So, lots of love to all of you. I will see you next week, 11 a.m. EST, on another episode of the Multidimensional MD.